Good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday. It is the 16th of July, already halfway through July. And winter is still very much upon us, and there's nothing we can do about that. But I have noticed that certain things are starting to happen. I saw some observation by somebody in the dark halls of social media yesterday. We're now closer to the year 2050 as of yesterday, I think, than we are to the year 2000.
Yeah, correct.
Jesus. Hey, Ben.
Even with your maths.
Wow, surprise. Ben's here.
Even with your
Hello,
maths,
Ben.
you can get that one right. I heard birds chirping this morning.
Yeah, that's a good sign, right?
Yeah, the worst is behind us.
I think so. So you just had a little trip to Spain.
Yeah, which was bloody incredible. Wow.
Where in Spain were you guys?
Flew to Malaga, so in the deep south.
Okay, that's lovely.
And we stayed 16 k's from the Rock of Gibraltar.
Oh, wow.
Oh, what a beautiful thing that is.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went to LIV Golf, and that was in Valderrama.
I can see on that.
Valderrama.
Very good.
Yeah,
Valderrama.
Gareth, that was one of the coolest trips on so many levels.
Tell me why.
Well, firstly, I've always wanted to go to Valderrama since watching the Ryder Cup on TV there in the 90s.
Right.
It's beautiful. It's just absolutely beautiful. Very difficult to golf there because it's just trees everywhere. But it's stunning. And like that whole dry Mediterranean heat, and you're on the Mediterranean, go for a swim at the beach. It's just so beautiful there. And so relaxed. And it's just like, it's golf country. And
That's what they call it, the Costa del Sol or something.
Yeah, in that greater region, there's like 70 golf courses or something. People go there to play golf. It's a golfing mecca.
Can you see Africa from there?
Yes, if you look towards Gibraltar and left a bit, you'll see the lights.
Okay, all right. So you're right at the end of the Mediterranean there.
Yeah, and I went
Very
with the
nice.
Tourvest cruise, so we did it obviously as good as you could possibly get it. We were the first people to stay in this hotel.
All right,
It
so it's
literally
brand
just
new.
opened for us.
Huh.
And I think we...
So that was the first hotel you ever really could say, I know no one has shat this bathroom.
I made the first poo in my room, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Made disgusting things happen in the bed. You knew it was
Didn't do
totally
that.
new.
Didn't do that.
No, but I mean, I often think about that when I go to hotels.
Well, yeah, of course, because every guy thinks about stuff like
No,
that.
I genuinely find other people horrifying and revolting, and it's getting worse as I'm getting older.
Oh, the room was... this hotel was incredible, massive pool, most incredible food. I can now understand why people get fat. My ankles are still fat. And I know that's got to do with plane travel and stuff, but I have fat ankles and my feet are swollen. I feel fat, but so happy and good. And we just ate and drank, and it was phenomenal. It was like early 30s. The one day it was so fucking windy that it was so windy that stopped the golf.
Really?
And after that, it was cool. It's chilled.
Shit. Okay. Well, we have a lot to get to this morning, and the reason Ben's here is because we're just acclimatizing you slowly to the fact that this show is going to go to one show a week soon. Just get ready for it. I don't want to hear any complaints in the comments section.
What have I got to do
One
with that?
live show a week. Well, I mean, because if they woke up this morning and do not adjust your internet, it's not Friday.
Oh, okay,
They would think
gotcha.
it's Friday, and they'd think, oh, well, okay, Ben's here on a Friday.
Sorry,
But
I thought you'd make it sound like I'm just trying to cut back the show.
No, not at all. It's more a question of James was still scrambling to kind of put things together last night, and I sent him a rude message saying, who's on? He's like, I'll get back to you. You could see the steam coming out of his
Was I
ears.
not first choice, James?
Yeah, this is
Fuck.
what he's trying to tell you, Ben.
Not very nice.
I'm delighted, though, because we've actually got a shit ton of things to get to this morning.
Okay.
So, yeah, I want to talk about, there's so much in the news that's worth reflecting on. So apparently, it's being contested by both sides, but apparently Karpinski Jonas, who was Cyril's supposed appointee to as ambassador for South Africa to America, right?
Yeah.
He was going to go and take over from the now disgraced Ibrahim Rasool. And Jonas was a choice that Cyril thought was safe because he has been in business. You know, in the ANC, being in business means that you've normally stolen something. But in Jonas's case, he's got a pretty good record. But like everyone else who's been in the ANC, you know, he's a commie.
Yeah.
And Americans hate commies, especially this Trump administration. They really hate a commie. So if you send Comrade X or Comrade Y, they're just going to say, no, thank you, we don't want to deal with those commies. Because commies, it's the same reason I don't allow them in my house, is because commies steal things.
They're terrible.
You can't trust them around anything that isn't bolted down.
And they kill the vibe so much.
Oh, so much. And they're always trying to find a way to get into other people's money. It's just appalling. So, and again, I'm going to warn you, if you know any communists, you need to offload them right out of your friend group right now. A friend of mine jokingly said the other day, oh, you must meet this friend of mine. He's a communist. And I said, no, it's fine. I think it is entirely acceptable.
That guy needs better jokes.
Well,
Out him.
Yeah, he was trying to be funny, but I think I think he's serious. I think he does know a commie. Anyway, you've got to stay away from these people. So Jonas has not had a visa issued. The US refused to give him a visa. And this is according to the DA. The ANC saying nonsense. He'd never needed a visa anyway, which you'll notice if you're paying attention doesn't mean he was denied his visa. It just means the ANC reckons he didn't need one anyway because he's a diplomatic appointment. So read that any way you like. I don't trust any politicians, but in this case, if it's true that Mkhwanazi Jonas was not given a visa, again, it's just another situation that we have on the books now of the ANC and its people being held accountable in a way that they've never been held accountable here. The people of this country, the laws, the courts, the criminal justice system in this country, all these commissions of inquiry, of which our president launched another one over the weekend, never hold anyone accountable. You just don't see them in prison. You don't see them chopping open rocks to make gravel to fill potholes, which is what these politicians who are caught with their hands in the till ought to be doing. You know, I was complaining with James and Flex the other day on the balcony because we were saying it's amazing how this is a country where if you're a small-time drug dealer, like you're selling fucking weed in a matchbox at the robot, you get arrested, right? Yep. The cops will, or if you're a street vendor and you've got like a stall where you're selling mohodu or something, but you haven't got the right papers, the police will find you and they'll take half your stuff and put you in the back of the van and take you to the police station. Like they're really quick to arrest those people. If you're a licensed driver who owns your car and the car is insured and you drive 20 kilometers over the speed limit, they will arrest you and they will take you to the police station and try to extract money from you. But if you steal billions of rands from the National Treasury, if you're in cahoots with the Guptas and the Zumas and name all the other crime families you'd like to, it doesn't seem anything happens to you. So people are just pissed off because there's never any accountability.
Zero.
And now, for the first time, like daddy is treating the kids like they should have been treated from the beginning. And by daddy, I mean the United States, because it is the world's policeman, and thank God for it. Otherwise, everyone would be behaving like Somalia. Okay? And this country's politicians have never had their feet held to the fire by anyone. Because if the ANC hears the DA say something, like, oh, it's those fucking DA guys. And let's admit, they are a pain in the ass, right? I mean,
Mostly.
they are.
Yeah.
So are all the other smaller parties. I saw Gayton McKenzie. Okay, now I've been a big Gayton McKenzie fan. I think he's doing a lot. As Minister of Sport, he certainly likes going to the matches, makes himself very seen and heard. He's promised lots of things. I don't know how many of those he's delivered, but I heard him say something that has irritated me like you can't believe. He was complaining about how, as a minister, he and his delegation, I think, not just he, need to fly business class. Sorry, now I'm sneezing.
Sorry.
You might have noticed it's all the brown that Ben and I are wearing.
Yeah, right? It's happy.
It's
we wish it was autumn day.
So anyway, he says they have to fly business class. And this is apparently something that his supporters think is fine. You know, it's amazing how many people in this country, in South Africa, are willing to be servile if they think that the politician they're being servile toward is just going to throw them a bone.
Well, you'll see similar in like religious communities. As long as the priest has a nice car, the rest of them...
It's absolute credulity and stupidity.
Yeah.
But if Gayton McKenzie considers himself deserving of business class tickets, I believe he's made some money in business. He's done some, mining and a bunch of other things, which I'm sure he's done legitimately. Who knows? But if he has and he's got some money of his own, sir, you are welcome to spend as much of your own money as you like, but not taxpayer money. I think that party has finished. We are up to here. I saw on X yesterday a number of people complaining about the red tape that you have to go through to start a business, how you have to register with this and register with that, and the Department of Labor has this to do with you, and then there's SARS and all of that shit. And it is extremely hard for people in this country to run a business. Now, with these tariffs, these US tariffs coming in August, apparently industries like iron and steel, which bring some 500 billion rand into the country when we're selling to America, that's in jeopardy. Cars, to the tune of, I think, 70-odd billion rand in jeopardy. What was the other thing? Nuts and fruits.
Yeah.
Who would have thought? But fruit and nuts, again, a couple of 100 billion rand in exports that are now under threat because those exports ordinarily would go to the United States and sell like hotcakes because it's cheap to buy them from us and take them to the US. Now with Trump's tariffs at 30%, for us to sell those things in America is going to be a lot more difficult. So they're going to be businesses that lay people off. I saw some really ridiculous news analyst yesterday saying, well, we could always try other markets, but there is no market like the United States if you're trying to sell stuff.
Well, isn't it? Yeah, then if we try the markets, so we get tariffed more?
Yeah, correct.
I haven't really been paying attention to that because my life's been fun the last 2 weeks. But
no, I know. I'm sorry about this.
How do you...
I'm sorry about this. This is people's reality.
Sorry. Is there an out clause on that? Like, does Cyril have
Yes, there were a number of things that our government had to do, just
like,
4 things.
Don't be commies.
Yeah, correct. Basically, don't be commies. Stop saying that it's okay to kill certain population groups. Scrap this BEE bullshit because it's basically racism. And that's what it
it's
is.
just there's only benefit to so few people, so it's not broad.
Absolutely, but you're also messing with merit.
Yes.
And this is why we've got cuck people all over. We've now got a new acting police minister, a guy called Feroz Kachalia. Again, I'm willing to give the guy a chance, but the track record, if you're a pattern-seeking mammal, which is what intelligent humans are, dumb humans can't even see patterns, but if you're a pattern-seeking mammal, then you will notice that every appointment Cyril's made is someone cuck. Like, he doesn't know what merit is.
Well, that's because he's cuck.
He's never seemingly appointed anyone who can do something properly. So I have to ask, with tears in my eyes, what chance does this poor Feroz Kachalia have? He was MEC for police in Gauteng for a while. Gauteng, to my mind, never had a terrific couple of weeks. We never had a few months or weeks where the crime was just totally under control. So I don't know how great Feroz Kachalia is at anything. Let's give him a go. But again, no merit. That's another thing that's a problem with BEE. And then the fourth thing, which I always tend to forget, has something to do with
Don't be friends with
expropriation without compensation.
Oh, right,
That's
okay.
what it was. So you can't take people, again, commie stuff, right? So don't take people's stuff. If this mug is mine and you try to take it, I will shoot you. It's a natural law as old as humans. If you want my stuff, you must either prove that you have a legal right to it, or you must take it by force. And then I have the right to fight back and defend my right to that property by force. So these are basic things that, like, the ANC really believes in, I don't know, maybe they all went to Disney instead of the Soviet Union to get their training under MK, but it's not magic. You can't magically reinvent things like rule of law, things like free markets, things like the way money flows. You can't just, we'll make a law and everyone will follow it. That's not how it works. So I'm annoyed about this. Apparently Durban is uniting. Here's something that's less annoying. In their support for Commissioner Mkhwanazi. This is the brave police commissioner in KZN, and Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, who is drawing, it seems, huge amounts of support from people all over KZN. They've also had it up to here.
But they also just don't like Cyril. Traditionally, he's not been popular.
Well, that's part of it too. You're right.
helps.
You're right to point that out, actually. Oh, good point. Well put. So that's going on. Apparently,
wait, hang on a second. So again, I'm catching this in the back foot here. But
Go
then
on.
there's talk of this whole national shutdown thing, Now,
Oh, is that a thing? I didn't know about that.
so in case they're already, as of yesterday, they're already galvanizing together and they want to do stuff. But can I point out that national shutdown doesn't mean complete and utter fucking anarchy where shit must get broken? Like, there's got to be a fine line between the two, right? People are upset, and we all want Cyril out, all that kind of stuff. But that doesn't mean that shops must get looted or stuff must get broken. There has to be a differentiation.
Oh, Ben, you're asking quite a lot here.
I know
you're
I'm asking quite a lot here,
You're
but
asking
I'm
people
a
to.
romantic.
You're asking people to apply sensibility and rational, objective, again, intelligence to a situation that they just can't. They don't know how. They see an opportunity to riot or to steal something, and that becomes like a magnet. They can't help. It's like a dog when you're shining a light at the floor, and it'll chase that until it runs out of breath and has a heart attack. It's like some people are as dumb as that. They see an opportunity to behave badly, and they can't help themselves.
Yeah. So I think
Why they can't have nice things.
Exactly, but we should have nice things because there are actually lots of nice people out there. But I like 2 or 3 years ago on the show, I said that we'll never get rid of politicians because no one's really prepared to actually have a proper coup. And you're like, yeah, you're actually inciting violence. This is kind of illegal. But it's true. People are so casual, comfy in their lives. It's real shit. But our lives are also like kind of comfy. So who's going to stand outside the union buildings for 4 days and throw feces at the windows? Like, I haven't got time for that.
No, and also I don't want to behave like that.
I would still want to behave like it.
I don't know about you. I've never taken part in a riot or in a protest in my life.
Gareth,
I'm never going to.
I know. But, in order to get extraordinary outcomes, you must do extraordinary things. So people are saying Cyril must go. He ain't going fucking nowhere. If we sit here on like X, tap, 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 tap,
that's true.
we need to go and throw excrement at windows. And
Excrement.
Look, top of my head, okay? I'll refine the idea by Friday.
Ben got that idea from his friends, the chimpanzees at the zoo.
Yes. But like otherwise it's just he doesn't care. But if you really actually look like you're going to take him out.
On this note, you say that people are, we just haven't done enough, and maybe you're right. And I don't know that people are comfortable. You know what the minimum wage, what the average wage in South Africa is, right? It's a handful of R1,000 a month, and let's say it's 9 at the far end, and at the much less generous end, it's R4,000 a month. Okay, so that's a fair window. That is not a lot of money for people to live on for a month. So I don't think that anyone who's on the average wage, remember that also means that there are lots of people who are far lower than that, and lots of people who are higher. But how much do you think? And this is a statistic I found out yesterday. How much do you think it would take for you to be richer than 50% of the people in the world? And I'm not talking about your salary. What I'm talking about here is your total net asset value. If you sold your car, all the expensive things that you own, if you had to liquidate all of your assets and you had to work out roughly, thumbsuck, what you think you're worth, what do you think you'd have to be worth to be richer than half of the people on Earth?
Do you want dollars or rands?
Rands. I've got it in rands. Or you can say it in dollars if you like.
Gareth, I sadly believe if you've got over 100,000 rand, you're probably richer than half the people on this earth.
It's a very good guess. At 76,662 rand, you are richer than 50% of the people on Earth.
Wow.
So in other words, if you own a car and you've paid it off, even if it's a piece of shit and it's worth less than 100,000 rand, you probably have more than 50% of the people on Earth. I saw a thing with Jimmy Carr yesterday too. And I like him, he's funny, but he said something in a serious tone of voice, which I took particular notice of, maybe because I'm so unused to him being serious. But he said, you wake up in the morning and you hop in the shower and you have a hot shower. And that is something that 50, 60 years ago, nobody on earth had. 100 years ago, certainly no one had it. So even the richest person, Rockefeller and Carnegie and all of those barons of the turn of the century, the Industrial Revolution overlords who built these phenomenal companies and the spine of the railway in America and that kind of thing. Those guys didn't know how great it felt to have a hot shower. So Jimmy Carr says every time you get in the shower, you should just go, shit, this is nice. And he's right.
I still believe that long-distance air travel is ridiculously special. I know you go in a place where people are farting in a small chamber.
Yeah, that's quite revolting, actually.
It is, but in a short space of time, you can go to another world, basically. You can go to different countries. You can see so much.
Yeah, again, before...
Your life changes completely.
What would you have
for a
had to
week.
have done? You would have had to get on a ship and take like 3 months, right?
So much time.
And by the way, this is in living memory. Hey, there are people alive today who were alive before flight. It's before the Wright brothers. Okay, they're in their hundreds by now, and there are a few of those. By the way, they also said the other day, I'm full of information today, Ben. I hope you don't mind. You're not exhausted.
Carry on.
They worked out that the most they can push humans to at the moment in terms of longevity, 115 for women, 114 for men. And they reckon that's the outside edge of longevity as it stands.
See, that makes sense to me. You get these dipshits, you go, and they'll live to a 200. No, I don't
Well, you
see
know what
it.
you're going to look like and smell like at 200.
But even then, it's increments, right? To go from 100 to 105 is huge. To go to 110 is gigantic. You don't suddenly leap to 200. That's like having a car that taps out at 140. You go, no, we get it to 170. No, 142 would be fucking incredible after that.
That's a very good point. I've got a couple of things to show you, some clips and so on.
I want to be a good 100. I want to raise my bat. But then again, it's like, what are the years 80 to 100 going to be like? Are you just treading water? Are you just holding on?
Yeah, I mean, I've often said this on the show, you get a good 80 and you get a terrible 80. And you get a good 60, you get a terrible 60. You get a good 30 and you get a terrible 30. I honestly can tell you of actual people I've seen who are in their 20s who are unhealthy, they are obese, they are lazy, they have nothing going on between their ears, and they're wasting youth. And then I see someone who's in their 80s or 90s, and they absolutely love living, and they are vital, and they put in the effort, and they pay attention, and they live in the moment, and all of the things that I admire.
So what would you define a good, in my mind,
if you get to 100, not falling apart would be a good
you have to be able to go to the toilet by yourself.
Yes.
As in, we're not talking nappies here. We're not talking boo-boos. You got to go by yourself, right?
No,
It's just you got to be able to initiate humorous conversation.
Right.
And I think you got to be able to transport yourself, as in still be able to drive.
Yes,
Still
probably.
have the agency to kind of.
Although I'm nervous about anyone over the age of 95 driving.
Then they must done.
No.
So when you say I want to be a good 80, all of those things. If you want to be a
Yes.
good 90, that's what it is.
You must be able to look after yourself and not fall everywhere, and not need a nursemaid to wipe your bum, that kind of thing. Speaking of which, there's this great joke that Walter Matthau told on the Tonight Show years ago with Johnny Carson. He says, I was going to try not to tell a toilet joke, but I can't help myself. He says, there's 3 guys, and they're sitting at a bar, and they're complaining, all old. First guy goes, oh, I would give anything to just be able to piss properly. It's like it's dribble, it's dribs and drabs, it's annoying, and the flow is very poor, it's very weak. I'm very unhappy about this. The guy next to him goes, what I wouldn't give to just to have a solid shit. Just that great feeling after you've woken up, and you. Third guy looks at them and goes, I don't know what you're talking about. He says, I piss like the Amazon River. It's phenomenal. My flow is great. It's like a scene from a special effects in a movie of one of those geezers in Yellowstone Park just erupting. And he says, I can shit. I've got the perfect consistency. It's solid. I'm very proud of my shits. And every morning at 7:35, I take a piss, and every morning at 7:40, I take a shit. So the other 2 guys go, so what are you complaining about? He goes, well, I only get out of bed at 7:50. All right. So, we have to play this for you. I saw, Al Bundy, right?
Yes.
Speaking of old, grumpy old men. So here's Al Bundy. I don't know when this came out. He was interviewed about Married with Children. Of course, he's been in Modern Family since then.
His real name's Ed somebody.
Yeah, Ed something or another. I just know him as,
Yeah, everyone does.
Al Bundy. So anyway, he was great on that show when I was a kid, and he was talking about it and being a bit nostalgic. And he said there was one person in the cast he just really didn't get along with. It wasn't Christina Applegate, his daughter. It wasn't David Faustino, the son. It wasn't Peg Bundy, who everybody loved. He got on well with all of them. Look and see if you can identify, if you can remember who this person is. And then he'll tell you why they never got along. Have you got that clip? Go for it.
Along great. The only one I don't get along with, and I don't think I'm the only one, is Amanda.
Really? How come?
I am not sure what happened there. I mean, because it was wonderful for 3 years. She was great. I don't know whose fault it was. We just sort of grew a bit apart. We argued about certain things, and I don't know what it was. And she changed a bit. I mean, I have to say that when she started out, she was gay. Because she was gay a long time. She was more or less the female in the couple. The show, 11 years it went. As it progressed, the change took place where she then was the more masculine. And that became kind of interesting because then as she became more masculine, she became a little more snarky. She could grow a tooth, as we used to say. I remember one instance where she was getting married. The invitations went out, and I didn't get one, and neither did David Faustino. And now we weren't arguing. Well, I said to David, well, everyone got one but you and I. And I think Ron Levitt didn't get one. Everyone else did. And I thought, and I thought it was funny. But at the same time, I thought, this is stupid on her part. Why would she do this? So I went to her, and why? And she said, this was a very tough call. But I just feel that you would find it amusing that me and Becky would come in tuxedos in a church and walk down the aisle, and you and David would be snickering and finding it funny. I said, Amanda, what is funny about two women in tuxedos walking down the church aisle? I started laughing. And she said, see? I said, well, you know why? Because it is fucking funny. And I'm not going to be the only one that doesn't think so. Well, that was it, But it was funny. She had a little white tux, and, it was just, to me, it was funny. But so, in other words, she may not have been wrong in excluding me, but
I think that's so great.
That's so cool.
And it's got to be analyzed on a number of levels, right? So, I mean, first of all, and JP says, I think we all hated her on the show anyway, method acting. Yeah, she was a miserable bitch. She was the next door neighbor and, horrible person. Yeah. But anyway, I mean, it's not too difficult to see the leap from, kind of angry lesbian in real life into angry lesbian on the show. And I mean, there is something comical about like two women in tuxes walking down the aisle together.
Of course it is. And
everyone knows it, as Al Bundy says there. And I just don't know why we've been putting up with this bullshit charade for the longest time to pretend we care about other people's feelings, which we probably aren't capable of.
Very well put. We're not capable of it. So when we try, it comes across as even more stupid.
Yeah, and it's insincere.
Yeah.
Like no one's actually standing at home practicing.
Of course not. The people will listen to this and go, oh, look at these guys. They're so insensitive. But it's not. People got to be more honest about this shit, just like him.
They just put up that quote again. That's hilarious. That's from Al Bundy, from Danny here in the comments section. Don't try to understand women. Women understand women and they hate each other. Al Bundy. In fact, if you watch clips from Married with Children, it seems to me that it's more relevant than ever before.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on there.
But that dude's life, I forget his last name, right? He's Ed something.
I'll look him up for you. Carry on.
if you look at his acting career, again, it depends how old you are, who he is. He's either L or he's J from
Ed
Modern
O'Neill.
Family. Ed O'Neill. Okay, so most people only know him as J from Modern Family.
Right.
And then most people kind of know he's Al Bundy from Married with Children.
Oh.
That guy's acting career was actually really funny because he grew up as a 90s kind of dad, and then it was like the new age kind of dad, where you will have a gay person in your family, mixed race, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He's gone both ways, but he was great in both times, I think.
And he's just a really good actor. And clearly doesn't take himself too seriously if he's telling stories
He
like
must
this.
have enjoyed so much because he's made massive money out of those two shows too. And he probably just plays golf with his mates and makes offside jokes.
I just thought of something else that made that Married with Children show so funny. Do you know what Peg Bundy's name was before she married him?
No.
Peggy Wanker.
Really?
She was Peggy Wanker in the show.
See, in the 90s you could do that.
And the child was Bud.
Yeah.
And what
Kelly.
other child? Kelly. That's
Yeah.
right. Bud and Kelly. Peggy Wanker. That was her name.
And he sold shoes all day.
Oh, well. She just complained. She had the big hair and the tits out the whole time. It was really the American dream. You know? He was a shoe salesman. He'd just insult everybody about their feet.
Yeah.
He was great. What a terrific human being. I think L. Bundy, and the neighbor's name was Marcy. Marcy Darcy.
Yes. And then had that sort of like orange husband as well, who was like the
Yes.
Ken doll.
That's right.
Yeah.
What a great show. All right. So I've got Al Bundy for you. The other thing I wanted to show you this morning, because we kind of hinted at this just a moment ago, but this is the guy, I think he's the chairman of Goldman Sachs. Is that right? JP Morgan. Sorry, JP Morgan. Also talking about Gen Z. And, we often will attack and revile all generations except mine and Ben's. I think we're in the same one, Gen X, some way, shape, or form. Who knows? But here's another reason to really loathe and despise Gen Z. All right, give it a go. Here's the guy who runs JP Morgan.
These kids, anyone who's depressed, as long as we don't have like nuclear war, they're going to have an unbelievable life. They're going to inherit. Like people say, the next generation's in bad shape. Really? They're going to inherit a country that's worth $200-300 trillion. They're probably going to live to 120. AI is going to cure some cancers.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be bemoaning their situation. They should be looking at this world and saying, what can I make of it? What can I do better than the folks before me?
Right. So we have to keep reminding people, and I sometimes feel like it's a broken record thing on this show, because I try to remind people of how amazing it is to be alive right now. Because, if people don't hear this over and over again, they get consumed by the news. The news makes them depressed. They look at the value of the money they get to take home, and they think it's less and less. But you are still living in the best possible time. You can go to a shop.
So much opportunity.
You go to a shop, and even if you have zero money, it is amazing to watch the process by which shop shelves are always stocked. And you don't have to go far to see how it doesn't work. Zimbabwe is a laughing stock of the world and a ridiculous, stupid country. And we're subsidizing them by having a whole bunch of Zimbabweans living here in our country. But it didn't take long for them to go from being a civilized place to being an anarchy. And where nothing was available on the shelves anymore, and nothing worked, and there was no electricity, and the roads turned into more pothole than road. So you don't have to look far to see an example of how badly it can go. But even in the worst possible case like Zimbabwe, it doesn't feel like 200 years ago, And even further back, where you actually had to put on some animal skins and go out into the forest or tundra to go and hunt for something with a sharpened stick. It's not, humans have only been around from a minute to midnight on the clock of the Earth's life. So just be grateful. And the fact that you can actually listen to and watch us this morning and have a meaningful argument and or agreement with us is phenomenal.
But also just getting offline a lot of the time. People get depressed because they're constantly comparing.
Good point.
But there's so many things you can do. Like, we went to this Irish pub to go watch the rugby on Saturday.
Yeah.
Wherever you are in the world, you want to watch the Springboks? Find an Irish pub.
Sure.
They'll sort you out. And the guy behind the bar there, it's his place. And I said, and he was Irish. So I said jokingly to him, it's like, oh, you don't sound like you're from Spain. And he's like, no, I came here when I was younger. And within half an hour, I realized, like, I actually quite like it here.
And he moved there.
And he went from a place where the weather's shit and he could have just become fat and drunk. And now he lives in the south of Spain. And then he's got another place in Andorra for ski season.
Wow.
But he got up, he went to a place, and he made it happen for himself.
Well, here's an example. Have you got the picture of that guy in the prison uniform? Do you know who this guy is? All right, let me explain. Here's an example of someone who got up and went to a place and made the move that he wanted to move, the thing he wanted to do. Look at that guy.
Oh, wow.
All right, how's that? So he is not a cast member of The Walking Dead season 410.
Not yet.
He should be. I mean, that person, if it is a person, he's a convicted child kidnapper. Okay, so even if he didn't look like that, he's already a terrible person.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's a child kidnapper and looks like that, I don't know how you get to look like that. I don't know what he's done to his skin. It's sort of a grayish color, like it's sloughing off of his face. His teeth would give you an indication that he's probably a meth addict of some kind. The eyes are red and yellow as opposed to how they should look. And always, I just want to warn you that if you meet people and they have, instead of the whites of their eyes being white, they're yellow, you're probably dealing with someone who's got very, very bad body chemistry going on. It's usually the first indicator is that the whites of the eyes are not white anymore.
Right.
Very unhealthy to have that going on. Anyway, that creature that I just showed you is now, and it is a creature. I don't know, am I wrong? If that came, listen, Flex, James, and everybody in the comment section, if that thing came walking towards you, would you take your chances that he was going to ask you if he could borrow a light for his cigarette? Fuck that, says James. Flex, if that guy walked up to you at the gate of your complex and said, please let me in, I'm very hungry, what would you do? Yeah, you'd punch him in the face, says Flex. What would you do, Ben?
I'd probably have to resort to violence because he seems quite determined.
All right, now listen. This guy was hanging around a playground, attempting to abduct children. When they came to get him, he ran away and they caught him and they put him in jail. They're now trying him, but his lawyer and the district attorney for Colorado, who's the person who will prosecute him, hopefully, it's a woman who is not great looking herself, but she doesn't look like that. She says, no, we can't put this guy in jail on grounds that he is insane. And I don't know that that's an excuse. If you are the kind of person who wants to abduct children, aren't you insane anyway? And shouldn't you still go to jail?
But isn't the reason that you get arrested because you're a threat to society?
Right.
There's no asterisk on what kind of threat you are. A threat is a threat.
So he may be a beautiful mind. He may be that.
He may be good at maths.
He may be all kinds of things.
It's not going to be any less daunting to children,
He could be mildly autistic and great at chess. Yeah. But I don't think anyone on planet Earth wants him near their children.
No.
Okay, and if he's lurking around a children's playground, that is the kind of final straw. That's not the thing he did wrong. He looks like that. He should already be suspicious to everyone on planet Earth. And I don't know what it takes with some people that they cannot see. His face helped with my constipation, says Pumlani. I cannot see why it takes some people such a long time to realize they've got a threat in the world. Like there are bad people who want to hurt children, for example. That guy, I don't know why the district attorney, this guy is why I put my bed on bricks, says Slippery Pickle. I don't know why some people can't see that that person is a bad idea to have around in free society. How he should be allowed to just wander about, molesting and kidnapping children.
I know this sounds strange because I've never had paternalness in me, nor have I ever intended to have children to this point. But why can't we care more about kids?
Well, it seems
Because
I mean,
if the guy's walking like that around those places,
Yeah.
the children are a threat. Do kids not mean more? Like, who's this sack of shit defending this guy?
she won't even prosecute him because he hasn't got defense attorneys yet. But the DA for Colorado is saying she might not prosecute him because, oh, shame, he's got mental health issues.
Yes, but if a kid gets molested, kid gets abducted or injured or anything like that kid's fucked for life.
I'm
Okay,
going to find you a picture
we've
of
got
the
to
DA.
we've got to be stronger in like how we protect children.
I want to find you a
We should be a
picture.
bit more ruthless in how to protect children.
I agree with you. And by the way, this is something I want to talk to you about because I know you've been very vocal about the Jeffrey Epstein thing. No, well, you have. I mean, you don't like, which is not an unusual.
I fucking hate
setting.
pedos.
Yeah, you hate pedos like I do. You
Because
find
I just
them.
don't think it's a fair fight. You
Right.
know? Like, again, criminals can be criminals because the human mind is fucked, and us as humans we're savages.
Yes.
But don't go after the kids. It's not a fair fight.
Okay, so this brings me to my question. What do you think of the fact that the Trump administration has so clearly fucked up the narrative around this Epstein thing? Pam Bundy, the United States district attorney for the whole country, she's a big deal, said she had the Epstein client list on her desk in February of this year. She said it was on her desk. She's going to go and look at it and she's going to hand it over. And then she did this ridiculous piece of theater where she called a whole bunch of right-wing influencers to the White House and they gave them a folder with the Epstein files, part 1 written on it. There was nothing new in there at all. There was no information that anybody found even remotely interesting. They revealed nothing. Then, a couple of months later, now they're clearly ashamed and embarrassed because either they don't have anything or they're covering it up. Those are the only two possibilities. They've either managed this so badly that the expectation's been set here and it's a red herring, there's just nothing in it, or there's tons of info and they just don't want to hand it over because it's compromising to too many powerful people. So what is it? Which is it?
Look, I think when Trump came to office, there was a lot of people who were happy for a lot of reasons. And I think one of them was come back to the fact is no more bullshit, transparency, people who've done shit are going to be found out. And I think that was a big thing that people took out. If you got no interest in US politics, you have no interest in the right or the left, that was the one thing that people actually really held on to. So if that doesn't happen, then it makes Trump look really bad. Second thing, if there is no list, why is Ghislaine Maxwell in prison then?
Ghislaine Maxwell.
If there's no list,
Yeah, well,
what's she in there for?
yeah, correct. And they said, this is another thing they said. They said there are hundreds of children who are victims. They were protecting these victims. They can't release some of the footage and some of the pictures because it compromises these children who are now adults, but who were children at the time that they were taken on the Lolita Express or to Epstein Island or whatever. So we have victims. So if you have victims, you must have perpetrators. And if you have perpetrators, why aren't you telling us who they are?
But then it's that whole Justin Bieber story, right? Do you protect the victim by not revealing the...
Well, you don't have to tell us who the victims were. You don't have to give their names or share their pictures. The only reason we even know this exists is a story by Victoria Giuffre or whatever her name is, who subsequently killed herself. Funny that. She and Epstein. But if there are victims, there must be perpetrators. And if those perpetrators are adult human beings, they should be held accountable for what they've done. And even Kevin Costner yesterday, not Kevin Costner, who's the guy? Who's the actor who was always a bit handsy? Well, there's a lot of those, right? The guy
Kevin
from
Spacey.
Kevin Spacey. Thank you. That's the guy. I can't remember him, and then I think handsy, and then it eventually comes to me.
Did you ever listen to the podcast he did with that guy, Lex Friedman?
No.
It's actually very interesting. I mean, he still comes across as a creep. And
Yes.
he likes young boys. Okay, some people, that's the way. Okay, that's how they ball. But he came across so interesting. Like, he admitted the fact that he was a bit handsy. He sounded like he was quite remorseful. It was a really touching episode, like 3 hours long. And at the end, I just thought to myself, yeah, but he's an actor.
Yeah, so you can pull it off. Anyway, he tweeted out yesterday on this Epstein thing. He's like, just for God's sake, just give us the Epstein files. Just tell us whatever you got. And honestly, I don't see any other way out now for the Trump administration. And for
They have to. He has to go in there and be true to
Kash
his word.
Patel and Dan Bongino and Pam Bundy, they're just going to put it all out there and let the public have a go. And if it means that there are embarrassing consequences, too bad. If you went to pedophile Epstein Island, you should be embarrassed.
Yeah, but money's powerful there, Gareth. Fuck, it's so powerful. It does such amazing things.
So you think they're still hiding things?
Well, of course. And they have the ability to. And as much as you want to be the big white knight and say these kind of things, in life, you actually can't, unfortunately. Things are so... I mean, just look at, like, the political elite in this country. It is so rotten and protected.
Yeah,
No
that's
one person can go in there and go, right, guys, we're going to clean the house. Or as Donald Trump's doing, drain the swamp.
Right.
That swamp is built. It's structured. It's vast. You don't just go in there and like, woo, done.
By the way, the zombie that I showed you just now, his name is Solomon Galligan. And she first, the woman who eventually had, we're going to show this picture a lot this morning, right? By the way, are we doing the window seat? Okay. That's more important than this zombie, but we'll get back to the zombie. I got a lot to tell you about the zombie because there's a whole backstory to him, and I mean, it's The Walking Dead.
Protect the kids.
Yeah, I just think that's a very reasonable thing.
That's how you get fucked up adults, right? You
Yeah.
let them go get molested and
Yes.
whatever, and then suddenly
kidnapped
they
by a guy
doing
like that.
It's like the zombie thing. Once you bite them, they become zombies.
Right.
It's the same thing that happens when you
Agreed.
let them get interfered with.
Don't let them interfere with the children. But even the people who've been, who we think are on the list, like Kevin Spacey, they're all saying, just release the goddamn thing. Let's just see who else is there.
Well, another thing is that a lot of these people are being like, everyone thinks they're on the list.
Yeah.
So they're being treated like they're on the list anyway.
Right.
Might as well just be out in the open.
And what if they reveal on the list that those people are not? Then that's a kind of unfair thing that they've been subjected to.
Everyone will get on fighting here. And more people will die, kill themselves.
We have to publish it.
Have to.
Let it all out. Release just release the toxins. It's like lancing a boil.
Rip off the
You have
Band-Aid.
to release it. Yeah.
But the thing is, what if you went once because you went with a mate who said there's this really cool island? Or what if you went 20 times and you were fucking the kids? No, you're on the same list. Very different crimes. Very different crimes completely.
Right.
Like, you could be a psychopathic child molester, or you just went because you had a mate who was going on a private jet somewhere.
Yeah. That's right.
So, I mean, all of these things are nuanced, but hey.
Okay, well, let's turn our attention to something much more pleasant, shall we? It is time for us to do the window seat. This is with travel.co.za, and you can go and check out travel.co.za for all the best possible options for international and local travel. And we talked so much about fancy destinations and all the rest of it. And this morning we're going to talk about bucket list to life lessons, the journeys that matter most. I mean, I love that as a kind of rubric to get into travel, because that's the reason that so many people do want to travel. Is they want to have a journey that really matters, some kind of life experience they will remember forever. So with over 19 years in luxury hospitality, travel and event management, we're going to speak to Stacey Lee Roberts, who's built a career defined by precision and excellence. She's worked in the iconic Burj Al Arab, which is that amazing hotel in Dubai, and with Michelin star chefs across the Middle East, setting new standards in service. She's a passionate traveler who's explored 36 countries, and she blends global insight with a sharp eye for detail, crafting unforgettable experiences and high-profile events with finesse. Stacey Lee, what an intro. It's nice to have you on. How are you?
Amazing. Thanks for having me on the show, Gareth.
Yeah, it's so nice to speak to you, and it sounds to me like you've had some pretty amazing adventures.
I'd say my job is nothing but boring, eh?
Nothing but? No, you mean anything but boring.
No, there's nothing boring about it.
Right.
Actually, the name of the segment, Window Seat, that's my favorite seat on the plane. It literally gives me chills whenever I get on the plane. knowing I'm going to a new destination to experience something completely epic that I happen to get to plan. So it's pretty amazing.
We'll talk a little bit about what exactly you do in a moment. But, you know, a lot of people who get to do the thing that they've always dreamed of, they can get jaded after a while. And it doesn't sound to me like you are. I mean, when you're talking about sitting at the window seat and looking out there and seeing the world pass by underneath you and going to amazing places, I don't think you could ever get tired of that.
You don't, to be honest. And even going back to destinations, in 1 year, I went back to Italy 3 times. And even
Sure.
though you can think like, okay, it must get boring. You've eaten enough pasta, enough pizza. There's just so much to uncover and so much to explore that it never gets boring. So it always brings me quite a lot of excitement whenever I know I'm about to dump my passport, go into a new or familiar airport and explore the destination.
All right, so let's talk about travel experiences that really change your life, because that, for many people, is the point of travel, is that you have your perspective changed forevermore. You go to some place, you meet people, you have an experience, you eat certain food, you drink certain things, you kind of have some unforgettable moment that changes the rest of your life. You've obviously had a few of those. Can you give us an idea of what they might have been?
I'd say before I actually started working in travel, when I was traveling in my personal capacity, one of the first few destinations that I visited was Vietnam. And I was so taken aback by the spirit of the Vietnamese people. Obviously, looking at the history of the country and the war that they've been through and so forth, you look at the resilience of the people, how welcoming they are, how hardworking they are. But just the complete spirit of the Vietnamese people, for me, that completely humbled me and changed my perspective on everything, I'd say.
What about the bucket list? Because I introduced this as being from bucket list to life lessons. I mean, what bucket list destinations lived up to your expectations or even exceeded them?
Well, just recently I've been to the UEFA Champions League final, and
Wow.
that was quite an experience. In the beginning, I was a little bit apprehensive about spending quite a long time in Germany. Germans obviously have a reputation for being quite cold, and the country itself having been through a lot as well, quite a hectic history over there. But spending time in Munich completely changed my perception of the German people. They were so warm, so welcoming. And then going to the UEFA Champions League final was next level. We planned an event for a corporate client, and we were very, very fortunate liaising directly with UEFA that we actually had a box which was next to Tom Cruise and David Beckham while they were doing their
Holy
broadcast.
shit. Really?
Yeah, so it was quite cool. I'm just,
How many of the girls in the box were busy watching that more than what was going on
I'm
the field?
sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I mean, it was quite funny, just going to the restroom, and on your way back, you bump into Tom Cruise. It's
Holy
pretty
shit.
epic.
Wow. I mean, UEFA
Yeah, but I
Champions
think
League
also
final, Ben, that would be right up your alley too.
Every single year is something special. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty
because
amazing.
it's so different, and the culture of the country is also obviously threaded into that. But I could compare it to, I was quite fortunate to be able to attend the 2022 World Cup semi-final and final as well. So it was
Mm,
quite comparable in terms of going to a World Cup versus going to club football,
yeah.
Champions League final. And I think that they were both so special, but so in such a different way. So those were definitely two of the highlights for me,
So
amongst many.
what is the day-to-day job for you at the moment? And you say you organized a group that went over for the UEFA Champions League final. I mean, that's quite cool. These are obviously people who you're fulfilling their bucket list experience for them by planning and putting this stuff together.
Exactly. So, it's such there's such a high expectation as well. Obviously, a lot of companies, corporate companies, use these trips as performance drivers, and
Mm,
so the weight heavily sits on your shoulders to make sure that, as you said in the intro, that there's precision and that there is
yeah.
opulence when you are planning this trip, because a small glitch can really taint the experience. So a lot of it is actually kind of sitting back and making sure that you really dot all the I's and cross all the T's so that the experience is elevated from the time that they arrive, building up to the main event, and that they leave there feeling like, wow, that was incredible. I've got to see what's happening for next year and hit the targets so that I can join the trip for next year. So, yeah, a lot of it is really just so much planning. And in a blink of an eye, the trip goes by so quickly after planning it for almost more than a year. Yeah.
All right, so let me ask you this, because you put these things together anyway, and you're probably the most qualified person in the world to answer it. If money was no object, what would be the ultimate travel experience that you could plan for you, not for anyone else? I mean, just think about that. And anybody who's listening to us or watching us this morning, if money wasn't an object and you had an entire month to do something, you could leave on the 1st and you could be back at the end of that month, and whatever you wanted to do, you could do. Where would you go?
So I've got two bucket list destinations that I really want to visit, and it's more of one is a continent, so it's South America. But higher on my list, because they're going extinct quite soon, I'd love to visit China, go to see the pandas, Great Wall of China, the Shaolin monks, and then hop over to Japan. And literally, I'm quite a huge foodie, so I really want to hit every single Michelin restaurant in Japan and have a crazy dining experience for like 2 weeks on end.
I heard Japan is amazing, but it's quite expensive.
It is. It is. It's up there with the US. When you're thinking about planning a Japan trip, you got to make sure that the budget is 100% there and people know what they're in for because it is quite expensive.
Okay. You're going soon, aren't you, Ben? You want to go?
I really want to go to Japan within the next 3 years. I want to do it while I'm still like young and energetic. Yeah. It just feels like it's a different sort of society, like a different sort of experience, different sort of world. They just see things differently, things operate differently. Because that's another thing you want to do. You want to have a unique experience away from home.
Yeah.
And I don't think it gets more different than that. Because contrast is another beautiful thing about travel.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think Japan would be fascinating. So, all right, in your experience then, Stacey, because I mean, for a lot of us, we'll never have the breadth of experience that you are having and that you will have and that you have already had. But what destinations surprised you the most? Because, and that could be good or bad, right? For many of us who haven't been to the 36 countries that you have, it's kind of a bit of a gamble. You don't know, you book things, and people often worry about, and this is why you should go to travel.co.za, by the way, because they have people who know what the hell they're doing. But people take a chance and then they end up in this country and they have the most absolutely horrible time, or it surprises them and it's better than they expected.
I think that country would have to be Sri Lanka.
Oh,
I
yeah?
was not expecting Sri Lanka to be as cool as it was entirely. Um, I actually think when we planned the trip, it was a personal trip, and when we planned it, we kind of also had mixed thoughts in our mind of what the expectation should be for the destination. But when we arrived there, so I'm originally from Cape Town, I literally felt like we went down to the south of Sri Lanka, Bintota, and I was like, wow, this literally feels like home. Everybody's surfing, having a smoke on the one side. It's super chilled, but they're just Indian. That's it. It's like Cape Town with more of an Indian culture. it was
That's very
it was
cool.
pretty cool.
And while we're talking about Sri Lanka, because we've actually had someone on just not so long ago telling us about Sri Lanka, it's not as expensive as Japan or the US that we were talking about just now.
It's not at all. It's very affordable. I think for South Africans, if you are considering traveling there, the only thing that might be a deterrent is the time to get to the destination. But once you're in the destination, I mean, it's incredible. You can literally still ride the trains, go through all of these jungles, go to the highest mountain where they've got tea factories. It's really, really incredible. And the people are also just so relaxed, very welcoming. So they've got that Indian hospitality with that cool Cape Town vibe, I'd say, like that surfer vibe going on. So it's a pretty cool destination and very beautiful at that as well.
Okay, so I can't let you go with all your travel experience without you giving us a couple of hacks for actual travel, because I love the destination. There's very little usually that puts me off there. Once you're in the place that you've always wanted to be in, or that you've had a kind of curiosity about, it's delightful. But actually traveling can be a real pain. So what are your hacks for airports, for planes, for buses, for prep, for packing, for all of those things?
Packing, roll your clothes. When you roll
Roll
your
them.
clothes versus roll them, literally roll them up. When you roll them versus packing them, you get so much more space.
Huh.
And make sure that you also pack a bag that's an expandable bag inside your suitcase. In case you are like me and you like to do lots of shopping, I
Uh-huh.
always pack a little extra bag inside so that I can always pull it out and fill it up if needed. And then also when you're in the airport, I mean, a lot of airports have now converted to being silent airports. If you're not on our travel app, get logged on first of all with your companies. We can send you push notifications to make sure you get your notifications at the palm of your hands so that you don't miss any important information. And the important thing a lot of people don't actually realize is get to the airport a bit earlier.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get different type of travelers that are a bit more nervous, some that are a bit more chilled and will get to the airport literally 1 hour before that international flight takes off. But you never know what happens along the way. You don't want to spoil your experience from the beginning. And then one of the really cool hacks that I found out via Qatar Airways kind of gave me the in on
Mm-hmm.
this. If you're looking for an emergency exit row seat and you've got a little bit of longer legs and you're not happy with your current seat, go up to the counter after you've passed through immigration, you're about to board the flight at least 1 hour before. 1 hour before, all seats cannot be sold anymore. So whatever seats are available is anyone's game. So you can grab a seat that you like, even if it's an emergency exit row seat. They'll give that to you 1 hour before the flight actually departs.
Wow. Okay. That's
Yeah,
handy to know.
it's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, that really makes a difference, because that little bit of space on a long flight is a massive thing. It's amazing how that little bit of space, you feel like a millionaire on a plane, right?
Absolutely.
But if you have that space just in the office, you don't think about it at all. You have more space at your office desk than you do in economy class, but you don't think about it. It's phenomenal. All right, well,
Exactly.
Stacey, it's a great pleasure to have you on. And thank you very much for sharing your stories with us. I know that you've probably got lots more, and I hope we'll see you again on the window seat. And keep us updated with your travels.
Thanks, Amal, Gareth. I'm looking forward to leaving next week. I'm off on a plane to Bali for my annual
Nice.
vacation. So hope to chat to you guys again soon and have an
Definitely.
awesome day. Thank you.
Thank you so much. There's Stacey Lee Roberts, who's a business development executive, and she's just sharing her bucket list stuff with us and telling us about her journeys that mattered most.
36 countries here.
Yeah,
I'm up to 27 now, and I'm very proud of that.
damn right. You hadn't been to Spain before this trip?
No,
Okay.
first time. Good time. Yeah, 27. It's yeah, I mean,
That's quite good, Ben.
because it's all of them are unique. They've all got something.
Yeah.
They've all given you something, shown you something, and the memories are forever. It really is so great.
Yeah, I mean, who will ever forget our trip to Bulgaria,
No one.
where we learnt that this means no, and that
Yeah.
means yes.
Bulgaria will never forget the people, all the friends we made. Paco, the bus driver.
Who?
Paco, the bus
Paco,
driver.
yeah, the bus driver. That's right. I'd forgotten him, but thank you for the reminder.
Oh, how did you forget it?
And a Petpo beer. Very good. All right, we'll be back in a moment. Ben's here. It's Wednesday. I hope you're having an awesome start to your day. Don't go anywhere.
You know, that was already in my mind. I want to be the boss. You know, like I said it in my interview. I had an interview, my first newspaper interview when I was 8 years old on the Sunday World. It was the second edition, the second printed edition of the Sunday World. And I mean, I guess they're still around, and a lot of newspapers have fallen off since. I said I'm going to grow up to be Puff Daddy. My heroes are Leonardo DiCaprio and Puff Daddy, but more so Puff Daddy.
So when did you become Puff Daddy? That's what we want to know.
From that moment, from that
Daddy.
moment, because I started, writing songs, making music,
Okay.
making beats. I got the software that
So
could allow
producing,
you to
you
arrange.
actually started
Yeah,
learning
with a
it?
computer. Yeah.
Okay,
so
doing
like,
it yourself. Okay.
like think about it like this: we kids who started, like, remember I told you at my primary school, we were already programming computers. We were making our own games. Like we'd sit, make our own games. You know what I mean? Like we'd hack into networks. We'd be able to download things off certain sites.
So what does that digital identity actually mean? Is it just about more secure logins, or is it something more transformative? Digital identity is just a way that you as a consumer can prove that you are who you say you are, and there's many ways of doing that, and there's quite innovative ways that companies in the digital identity space are trying to achieve that, which I can talk to you about in a minute. But yes, it's just, instead of whipping out your smart ID or a paper passport or something like that, digital ID is simply being able to prove who you are in some sort of digital manner.
I hope your day is going extremely well and that you don't look like this guy. Put him on. In case someone missed, there he is. What a great looking dude. Anyway, his name is Galligan, Solomon Galligan. He punched a woman outside the Denver County Courthouse. And even though he punched her, she feels bad for him. She's a special needs teacher. And she said, "Oh, it's so horrible. People are calling him a zombie. I've seen him when he's medicated and he's beautiful. I know he's been in and out of foster homes. He's mentally ill. So why are we not helping him?" And then she got punched. And she still thinks this. And he's molesting and kidnapping children in Aurora County in Colorado. And this woman she can't see anything bad in him. She just wants to nurture and look after and help him. Even though he punched her.
Yeah. It's funny.
Sometimes people can't pick up when something's bad.
Yeah,
Like you just don't have you've grown up in a way where you just never never encountered any ugliness. You genuinely think naively that all people are good.
people prey on those people, though.
Well,
'cause they're
look
weak.
at this dude. Again, show the picture. You don't have to be a special needs teacher to pick up that this guy is special and you should stay the hell away from him. But the woman who he attacked can't even bring herself to just have him locked away in a mental facility or put to death. If he's trying to kidnap children and he's attacking random women, he should just be put to death. I don't think there's any way you can help someone who's that fucked. He's fucked,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Which brings us to a topic which I know is going to get us into some trouble this morning, but we've got to talk about it. So
Oh, no, we were doing so well.
I know, we were doing so well. So Quillette, which is a very good publication I sometimes read, has been, well, there's this article that's just come out, and it's about how women are becoming protesters and activists at numbers that far outweigh men. And it's become a bit of a trend, and we need to understand why. So the article cites lots of important research, recent examples in the news. Apparently 61 of the 80 students who were arrested during Columbia University's Gaza protests were women. 61 out of 80.
And the other 20 were just trying to get laid.
Probably. But it's part of what Quillet's article is all about, a larger pattern of women who now dominate progressive protest movements, from climate action to BLM, and this overrepresentation isn't getting the scrutiny it deserves. It continues, across the West, Gen Z women are becoming significantly more left-leaning than their male peers. In the US, young women are now 30 points more liberal than young men. And if you want to know more, radicalization, they say, is not just a male phenomenon, defined as ideological commitment that distorts worldview and impairs functioning. It affects women too, but when women are radicalized, we tend to romanticize or ignore it, missing critical warning signs. And maybe this is also just because society doesn't take women as seriously.
Oh, pink sword coming.
Yeah, but think about that. And I'm not trying to be sexist here, but maybe it's because society just doesn't take women as seriously, because the threat of violence from women is often less than the threat of violence from men. Here we go. Just Stop Oil activists block motorways, others vandalize famous artworks. In Australia, a protester gave birth roadside after delays from a female-led traffic blockade. These are not benign disruptions. They're harmful and often ignored because the perpetrators are women. So women are both becoming the most irritating, obnoxious, and dangerous protesters, but they're also not being taken seriously at the same time. I mean, that can only lead to problems. Greta Thunberg, yeah, there she is. She's probably one of the people who started this.
Sure, well, she's the face of it, and she was at the peak of this wave.
Right, so it reveals a double standard. A teen boy urging kids to skip school would likely be punished and not be awarded Nobel nominations. The rewards women receive for radical acts create powerful incentive structures that push activism into absolutism. And Greta is a great example, right? Finally, and this is not meant to be a PowerPoint presentation. I just thought that
It's a good one, though. Carry on.
there were interesting things here that we need to discuss. Intersectionality, which is the omni-cause. This is where all victimized groups come together and feel sorry for themselves and claim all kinds of rights as a result of the fact that they feel oppressed. Intersectionality once helped identify overlapping injustices. Now it enforces, listen to this, moral conformity across unrelated causes. Deviate from the dominant view, even slightly, you risk shame and social exclusion. This pressure is uniquely potent in female peer groups. And finally, moral psychology reveals why women score higher in care, fairness, and purity. They are traits that make them responsive to harm and injustice, and also vulnerable to movements demanding ideological cleanliness. Add the fear of exclusion, and radical narratives take root.
Moral conformity, I like that.
Yeah.
It sums up a hell of a lot.
All right, that's enough. I can't do any more of these slides, but yes, it carries on and on.
If the
it's worth
dating
reading.
pool has just got smaller, eh?
That's correct.
Fuck.
So I think it's also important for us to discuss why this is happening, why it's particularly white Western women who are doing this and who are making up these numbers and who are defacing artworks and blocking roads and joining all these shitty movements.
Kind of goes back to what Ed O'Neill was saying, Al Bundy, really, is that lesbian from across the road in the show. She was good and well when she was the female in the relationship, but she got all snarky and uppity when she became the male in the relationship. I think there's this whole, like, dominance / power / whatever divide you want to call it. The more women step into it, the more like that they become. And I think it's a natural thing for them. That's not me saying they have no place to have an opinion. That's just me saying is that there's such an imbalance that they're changing into shitty people.
Yeah.
All the people you mentioned there, it's not an opinion. The Stop Oil, Greta Thunberg, they're shitty people.
Yeah. They're thoroughly unpleasant.
Take away women's, you make shittiness.
Well, I'm recording an
Sorry,
interview.
I wish I had smarter words.
No, I'm with you. I'm recording an interview tomorrow about whether or not feminism has made women more happy.
Far less happy.
Well, I mean, you could say that, but there'll be feminists who'll argue the opposite, which is the
they
whole
argue
point
because they're unhappy.
I'm unhappy because I eat, and I eat because I'm unhappy. It's a vicious cycle. No, so I'm going to interview a woman about whether or not she thinks feminism has made women. And I'm going into it with an open mind.
What kind of hair does she have?
No, she's got normal hair.
Yeah,
She's
could be a
got
good argument.
probably lovely hair. She's not immediately identifiable like Solomon Gallagher as a zombie or a weird blue hair.
If she had piercings
creature.
about her nose and coloured hair, I would say don't cancel interview.
I don't.
Right now.
I don't want to interview anyone who has piercings about their nose and blue hair. That instantly nature warns you with bright colours of toxic things.
Yes.
Like poison frogs and poison birds and things that will try to
Venomous
destroy.
and unreasonable.
Venomous, unreasonable things are always those colours. So beware. But I do find it interesting that this is how, we talk about purpose and meaning. So clearly for a lot of these women, this is how they find purpose and meaning. It's by being the most obnoxious people they could possibly be. And I say these women because that's what the Quillette article is all about. It's clearly about this predominance, this overwhelming majority of these protesters and these activists who clearly want the attention. They find it valuable to have this attention. They think it gives them social cachet. For them, the best way to make the world a better place is to be loud and painful and excruciating and irritating and disrupt other people's lives as much as you can. And I think it's very, very unattractive.
But who or what is guiding this direction? Because
What do you mean? Like there's a magic hand?
I think there always is, Gareth. I think humans are easily led, right? And they all have intention and they all have some sort of want for better things for purpose, right? Like good intentions get you, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. What guides these women towards this? This is what I want to know. Something along the way,
So-
I think is quite orchestrated. I really do.
I think it's related to the zombies question, which we raised before. And we make a lot of fun of these things on the show, but I think there is such a thing as toxic compassion.
Completely. But
Okay.
but I want to know, and again, this is
No,
gonna
I think it comes from these women themselves. I think it comes from there are things about about women that make them spectacular and that give them superpowers that men don't have. There are things that men can do, for example, that women can't do, but there are also things that women can do that men can't.
And together in a balance, we have this amazing existence which we should be
Absolutely.
celebrating.
So the one thing women are extraordinarily good at is that their EQ is immeasurably better than ours. Their ability to empathize, their ability to show compassion, their ability to care for and nurture.
That's because guys don't see value in it. It's not the
Well,
better in it.
again, and now it's become almost, if you say things like this, you're some kind of old school chauvinist pig, you know? You're bringing up the fact that women are nurturers and that they're compassionate. And, the feminists, for example, will say to you, oh, but those are not traits that we want. We want the traits of strength and girl bosses and all that kind of thing. We want to be taken seriously and women in the workplace and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Maybe we've just stopped valuing some of the qualities that women, and you could argue men, are really good at because we want to show everybody to be the same and we want to make it possible for anyone to be and do anything without paying any attention to our natural strengths. And what can happen, and this is the point I was trying to make with the zombie earlier and that story about the woman who, though he punched her in the face, she's still showing toxic compassion to him. She sees him as an infant that she wants to nurture and make better. She wants to improve him, which is not a possibility. He's a heroin-addicted zombie.
It's not a worthwhile task. And then people like that become district attorneys.
And many other jobs which perhaps are not well suited to the super compassionate.
Stupidly emotional.
She's a special needs teacher, but who knows that after this she won't want to pursue a career in politics.
Special needs teachers are great because the special needs need to be needed and stuff.
What do you?
But don't.
No, it's for retarded kids and things.
But where are they going to go without these teachers? So,
Yes, no,
so that's
she's
great.
She's perfect for that.
So I'd like to put a roof on that.
Yes.
She can't be quoted in a court of law or have any influence outside of helping kids who need special help.
Yeah. I mean, she starts crying when she sees that mugshot. Now, if you cry at this mugshot rather than run in terror or attack it with a stick, you are super compassionate, and really you are unbelievably in touch with your feelings, and perhaps you are trying to help everyone on Earth and you want to save the planet and everything, but you shouldn't be making public policy, and you shouldn't certainly be in charge of criminal justice because to you, everything is about making everybody feel better. And the only people who should feel better are the people who don't have to bump into that guy every day.
I mean, your life is a disaster if you're trying to make everyone happy. I'm sorry, it's just always going to be.
So we've got
you'll
to
be
find,
taken advantage
we've
of.
got to find something then for young girls who have everything going for them. They're at university in America, for example, and they have good families. They are pretty. They are clever. They are talented. They have everything going for them. But then something happens to make them join a Gaza or a Just Stop Oil or a Black Lives Matter protest. We've got to stop the rot before it happens. We've got to find a way of rescuing these young women and finding them a cause that is worthy.
It's easy. I never thought I'd say this. It's Jesus. It's as simple as that.
Really, Ben?
It's, guys, at the age of 43, I know the answer here.
Flex, James, any encouragement from you?
You can run an entire commonality with all of these things. They lack faith, they lack the Lord, and they lack that.
You reckon a bit of Jesus?
Gareth, it's it. And you can fight me in this all you want, but
I'm not going to. I'm fascinated.
If you go through all of society right now, everyone thinks that they can just do what they want and they'll make it out. Bullshit.
Anybody who thinks we've ever rehearsed this show is in for a big surprise today. I'm surprised as hell.
People need something that they can't ever give themselves, right? And this is what happens. This is why religion too is
Say that again.
People
need something they can't give themselves.
Of course, because a lot of people are fucking disasters. You give someone time and whatever, they all fuck it up. Majority of the people. And people always think that, like, religion, all these kind of things, it's nice to have, I'll tap in here or I'll have a go there. But then you open yourself up to all this other bullshit. You lose your grounding, you lose your direction in life. Nothing's ever going to be perfect, right? You have to make some sacrifices, and you have to be part of a play sheet somewhere along the line. If you were to guide more young women towards that, we'd have a happier world. Guarantee you.
So Jesus.
I'm all open for everyone else who's got some other miracle thing, but it's
well, let's see what's happening in the comments.
I just don't think that there's
lost your mind.
I don't think there's a better answer, and I've given this much thought of my entire life.
I'm thrilled at your conclusion. So Wade agrees with you. Hugh says, whoa, that's an extremely 1950s mindset. Are we reverting back to the 50s now?
Oh, so you got something better to say? So who is... get these people up here.
That's...
Because all they'll do is...
Okay, that's from Strayamate 19. Oh. All right, put Hugh up there, and then we can see what all this noise is about. Women belong at home, raise the kids, clean, cook, etc. Perfect job for a compassionate person. Well,
okay. Can we refrain from using belong?
Okay, but let's just park that for a second because I do think it's worth some introspection. In the family, an abundance of compassion, particularly for the most vulnerable member of the family, is an extremely powerful thing and is to be applauded, and it is laudable in every way, right? So, if there's a child, the runt of your family litter, who really needs a lot of help, that is where you need that kind of compassion, because otherwise that child is going to fall very far behind. And you don't want that in a family. You want everybody to do well. You want to look after everyone, even little Timmy or whatever it is in the family, right? So that's where you need that. But in society, we've got to be super careful about this, because if you are constantly trying to pull up the most terrible people like that zombie and trying to bring them up to standard, you slow down the whole project of society to a degree where nothing works anymore, because we're so busy being compassionate to people who absolutely don't care about anybody but themselves.
Sure. Exactly.
That you break it down. So again, I don't think Hugh's right here. I don't like what he says about belong, just like you don't, Ben, but I do think there's something about being compassionate and the family that is very good.
Well, can I just make a tiny change here, which will change everything? So, huge direction here. It says, women belong at home, raise the kids, clean, cook, etc. Perfect job for a compassionate person. Women thrive at home. They really do.
Oh, this is going to get us into so much trouble.
Women do thrive at home. If they want to go further from that, amazing. If they want to then become the world's best architect, all these kind of things. Incredible, because they're adding to society, right? But a lot of women thrive in a place where they're going to feel secure, happy, and have some sort of meaning. And again, you can try find the perfect solution here, but a home is a pretty good one. I'm not saying it's the best, but in the absence of the silver bullet to all these things, which doesn't happen, doesn't exist, there are still things that actually make sense in life.
Danny says, cue zombie pick. They haven't had enough, James. Show it again.
Stop showing this fucking guy's face.
I'm not very religious, says Ricky, but I agree with Ben.
Either was I, Ricky, ever. I mean, I'll never throw this down anyone's throat, but in a time where we are looking for solutions, we are looking for answers to the numerous amount of fuckery out there, it's a pretty good one.
Parallel Parking says the family disappeared with the gift of a cell phone to the kids. With a swipe of the thumb, the parent lost all authority. I don't know. I know some parents who are doing a pretty good job of keeping their kids off of devices until at least the age of 14, 15.
Which is the hard choice to make.
It's hard to do
good for
because
them.
they're not going to, their friends are all going to have phones and social media and everything.
It's a popular thing to do.
You've got to keep your child off of that. I think that's clear to anyone who really loves their children. You just can't. Toki Ramelison says, you guys, you are in trouble. Why?
Maybe because you said we're going to get in trouble.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Great. You come up with your own ideas, Toki. Vyasan says, that guy, the zombie's face is a reminder to brush your teeth and put on your lotion. Signet says, Ben is giving words of wisdom. Now tell us about Lamine Yamal and the dwarves.
Yeah, so Lamine
What's
Yamal.
that? What's that all about?
So he's like that super, super young dude. He's plays for Barcelona. He's 18. Plays for Spain. He's like one of the world's best footballers, and he's 18 now.
Yeah.
So he had a birthday party, and he hired dwarves.
That's great.
I know, but now he's getting like hauled over the coals for being like insensitive. Whatever.
Let me tell you.
He wanted dwarves and
Hang
midgets
on.
at his birthday.
There are so few jobs going for dwarves at the moment. I mean, the last Snow White, they didn't even hire dwarves. There are 7 job applications there for dwarves. Now, if you're a dwarf, and I don't know about you, but I don't see that many dwarves around.
That almost feels racist.
There are fewer dwarves.
How do you not hire a dwarf
Exactly,
for a dwarf role?
dwarf role. It seems absolutely crooked.
Yeah.
So stupid Disney decided to make this terrible version with that ugly girl and the Gal Gadot, and it's just terrible, right? The Snow White and the 7 dwarfs. Snow White and the 7 dwarves, and they don't have dwarves.
What do they call them? The 7
No,
helpers.
well, they were like 7 magical people or something, but they were all AI generated.
They sound magical people.
CGI.
They steal.
CGI.
Magical people travel a lot and steal.
Magical people like gypsies. Anyway, the point is, you didn't have 7 jobs for 7 would-be dwarves there. So these dwarves have got to find other ways to make money. I mean,
they can't all be Peter Dinklage.
do you think? Yeah, exactly. And also, just by the way, there isn't some dwarf charity handing out money to dwarves. They have to work
Well,
like
I'll go
everyone
through
else.
the US aid things. I'm sure we'll find one in there somewhere.
Well, I don't know if dwarves are their priority. James, Flex, do you support dwarves? See? Listen to that nonsense.
You've got to get a microphone in there. Just
No, but listen to that
basic
nonsense.
one.
Blah, blah, blah. I didn't even hear Flex there. James went, moo, moo, moo.
Because he was so
Flex, do you
disappointed.
support any dwarves? Yeah. No. They're good people, he says. But you don't pay for any of them. No, he doesn't. You see? So when a famous footballer, I didn't know this story until this morning, says he needs dwarves at a party because they're at the perfect height for putting a drink down on a tray.
I know, you've always said this, yeah.
It's perfect. I've been to a party where there were dwarves. Everyone had a wonderful time. The dwarves,
Dwarves
us,
too, they got paid.
it was great. They earned money. So with a sudden decrease in available jobs for dwarves, thanks to woke Disney, they've got to work. And this footballer is talk about activism and doing great things. What a cause to support. What an absolute humanitarian
example.
This guy is a philanthropist, helping one of the uncoolest groups who've just fallen out of favor by all these people who are trying to help all the time. I still care about you dwarves, even if all these activists who are worried about carbon dioxide, They don't care about you. Do you know how much more carbon dioxide there is down there than there is up here? Because carbon dioxide is heavier, it sinks. So the dwarves are the biggest sufferers from global warming. I don't hear Greta Thunberg protesting for dwarves.
So true.
Selfish Greta Thunberg.
But on that whole thing with that Greta Thunberg fucking person, why isn't she peddling her stupid boat to China and going to tell them what to do?
Yeah, it's not cool. You get more attention for Gaza and for climate change. Well, can I tell you what? That all these narratives are falling apart. It's actually great. What an awesome time to be alive. The LGBTQ thing is just falling apart. No one's interested in the last part of that. The L's and G's and B's aren't even interested in what the T's want anymore.
I always thought that the L's and G's and B's
they have nothing in common.
They were at the front lines for this for so long.
Sure, and then they suddenly were being lumped in with men who wear dresses
On a whim.
Yeah, outrageous.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's falling apart. The climate change thing's falling apart. You know, people who've done really great work in this arena, like Bjorn Lomborg and, you know, so many others, Marion Tupy, who I've spoken to on the show. It's just not a thing. And if you look at the graph of carbon dioxide emissions by China, and you compare it to countries like Britain, Britain are tying themselves in knots about zero emissions. But the British contribution to the total amount of carbon dioxide in the air is so tiny. Your car is probably creating more carbon dioxide than 6 British homes. Okay, so they're doing. China is like this, Britain's like that. But the people in Britain are so worried about climate change. So it's falling apart all over the world. And we're realizing more and more that fossil fuels, you know, carbon is like the water cycle. Do you remember doing the water cycle at school?
Yes. It always came
There's
back
a
to
certain
the
amount
ocean.
of water around and on and in planet Earth, in the atmosphere, in the ground, and in rivers and dams and the sea. Okay? And you can't, it's almost like energy. You cannot create or destroy energy. You can only transfer it. And the same is true for carbon dioxide. All carbon. So you can't create carbon from anything. It's already in the system, whether it's in fossil fuels, whether it's in trees. Remember, whether it's in the air, a tree itself is made from air, and it makes itself from carbon dioxide it pulls out of the air. So something is going to exchange that carbon at some point. What makes you think human beings are going to change that process so significantly that will disrupt the carbon cycle? You have to have unbelievable hubris or stupidity to believe that.
Well, it's a fine combination of both, because ultimately people are just trying to busy themselves to make themselves look better.
That's it.
Deep down, they know they're not doing anything.
Busybodies.
They do fuck all.
So climate change is falling apart. The LGBT thing's falling apart. Communism has. I mean, we have to keep fighting this fight, but it's always stupid.
So think about
Always disproven.
I watched this series in the plane. It was about spies in England.
Oh yeah.
And this whole commie thing has been around forever. Like
Oh, yeah.
they've been trying to recruit people since the 30s in universities, and probably even beyond that. But ultimately, the one thing that always comes out is that is always a bad idea.
James, you
Every
got
time.
that clip of that guy talking about this? Yeah, I sent it to you yesterday. Look at this guy. He kind of hits the nail on the head. Why do you think it's so popular among young people in South Africa?
Soft
This
brains.
commie shit. Okay, so here it is.
Fairy
Here's the
tales.
answer. Not from me, but from
Tell you one thing. Capitalism sells you a dream. Sells you a dream of self-independence, sells you a dream of self-determination and success. Communism does one thing. It taps into your struggle. Hence, it's very easy to resonate with communism. It taps into your psychological struggle, and it's very easy to connect with the situation that you are feeling at the moment. But because capitalism is a dream, it's something you've got to envision. South Africans lack vision. Hence, you see us tilting towards a communist society.
Spot on.
right. I mean, I can't disagree with that guy. He's hit the nail on the head. That's why
Also-
it keeps appealing to dumb people who have no vision.
But also, your struggle is your path, where it goes, right? It doesn't define what you are or what you're not. I guess it's also just fucking stupid.
But if you don't have a future and you can't see a future for yourself, then all you can do is grumble about the past and try to make your immediate present as bearable as possible. And the way you do that is either by being bitter and resentful and jealous and envious of everyone around you and trying to acquire what is not yours by tearing down what is others, or you join the Communist Party. I suppose that's what you do. Become an organizer.
It's just a very odd thing for anyone to want to aspire towards. Like, if you're a young guy, maybe frame it like this. If you're looking to impress a girl and you had two conversations you had to go at her with, one was communism and how you're going to amount to nothing and how you're very upset about shit. Or if you were to tell her what you're going to become and the cool things you're going to have and the great things you're going to do, which would you go for if you want to try to pick up a girl? And when you realize the answer every single time is where you're going to go, what you're about, how great you are, why not put that back into the rest of your stupid fucking life and realize just how dumb you are?
Bitcoin But says, Flex, see if you can find this. Look up the guy who's running for mayor of Minneapolis. He looks like a zombie too. His name is Omar Fateh. He's a Somalian. I know a little bit about him, but see if you can find a picture. Matthew says, Pakistan light, England needs a refresher of their identity. Well, the Brits are just, that country is just such an embarrassment at the moment. Hermine says we should name our cause Dwarf Lives Matter. I think that's a far more valuable cause
Make
for us.
it part of the franchise, guys. Just
There
make
we
it
are.
part of the franchise.
More carbon is created in one volcano in 1 week than we all create in years. We actually need more carbon. Plants love it. Again, parallel parking, not wrong. Where do dwarves shop for clothes? Asks Wade. I don't know. Kids section?
Well, if they had money, there would be a shop, but
they
they're not
can't even
getting
get jobs.
They're not getting jobs
Yeah.
because people are upset.
Yeah, because of evil, woke Disney.
Greta's squatting over a fucking volcano as well to stop the carbon coming out.
Do you want Greta squatting?
Go for it.
Okay, then I'm sure Gimli would take the office, says Gijs. Well, again, the guy who played Gimli wasn't a dwarf, and he's dead. So a role for a dwarf went to a normal person, the normal size human. See? No one's talking about this. People have fallen off the dwarf bandwagon. They're no longer... There's no compassion for these people. No. It's all for climate change and, Gaza. No one's out there on the street, as Ben said, squatting over volcanoes to make a point about dwarfs. How's the dwarf porn scene in Madagascar? That's a thing? Okay. Kampfwerk for president.
I'm not Googling that.
I'm not either. I'm not either.
James.
If I was Snow White, I would not feel safe around 7 little people in a forest. Well, would you prefer to be around that zombie guy? Put him up again. Show parallel whoever that was complaining about that. Sure. Would you rather be in the town and have that guy walking around outside your house? Sure. Replace the word capitalism with the words free market economy. We need to have but first we need to free our market. Yeah, I do agree. Okay, take that guy off. It's horrible to look at. Yes, I do agree. A free market economy is the basic building block for what eventually leads to the best version of capitalism. And I do want to caution people who think that they can put capitalism and communism on the same distribution. They aren't even opposing systems in some ways. The opposite of communism really is free marketeering. It's free market system. It's the idea that if I want to transact with Ben, I can name a price and he can decide whether that's a worthy price, and we can debate it, and he can walk away if he doesn't like it, and I can walk away if his product is shit. That's how free market stuff works. The opposite of that is communism. It's where the government decides what the price of everything is. And they try to manipulate the economy and socially engineer the society alongside it, which is obviously very, very dangerous. But in so many ways, the problem that people have with capitalism is that they're confusing the best outcomes of capitalism with corporatism. And we have a lot of corporatism in South Africa where the government is in cahoots with big corporations, and we know this. and with trade unions, and we know this, and that's where so much of our pain comes from as a country. It really makes it very difficult for ordinary people to make a living and to break out of poverty, because that's not what capitalism affords you. Proper capitalism is the greatest force to pull people out of poverty in modern history. And it's not even close, as Donald Trump would say. It's not even close. Gimni was just normal washing. Is that like when someone who isn't white plays a black role, or
Yes.
someone who okay, that's what that is. Dwarf lives matter. I blame crooked Hillary. I don't know what she has to do with this.
Well, she's never been very complimentary about dwarves.
Oh, really?
Well, what's she done for them?
I didn't know. So Hillary has a problem with dwarves then. Okay. There was a whole series where the dwarf was the star of the show. I think it was called Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Oh, there he is. Okay, so there's Omar Fateh. I got to ask you, like, is there a look that... Are all Somalians related? Or is there a look...
That's just their look.
It's like a look, right? You take a look at pretty much, and I don't want to be disparaging particularly about the Somalian. Maybe they do all have the same very, very strong ancestry or genes, but
That's just their look.
Somalians look like Somalians, right? You wouldn't ever mistake.
it's a definite
Like, you
look.
don't think that guy's from the Eastern Cape. You don't think that guy's from Ghana. You don't think that guy's from Guinea-Bissau. You just know he's Somalian.
Okay,
right?
so why is that? Because
I don't know.
it's
I'm
the
trying to
east
look-
coast of
I'm trying to
Africa. There's
figure
going
it
to be
out.
some Arabic
Yeah,
influence.
but I've seen, and you know what a Kenyan looks like, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a generalization about that, but you know what a Maasai Kenyan looks like? They got a very particular look. But that guy looks like you wouldn't mistake him.
But is that
You'd know
because
immediately.
they've been seafaring people for so long?
I don't know what it is. It's Somalian. That's how Somalians
But this is
look.
the beautiful thing about history and societies and people.
So what?
We
Who
look
was it who
different for a
told us?
reason.
Was it Bitcoin But who said that? He says it's Ilhan Omar's brother stroke husband. Well, you talk about it being one happy family, right? But the reality is, like, Ilhan Omar, who is also Somalian, who's an American congresswoman, she kind of looks like that guy too. But maybe he could be her brother. You don't know, because she did apparently marry her brother for some visa fraud that was being conducted
Wow.
by one or both of them. So
Well, I mean, I guess it's
I'm
worse.
not saying that she's sleeping with him. She's just, there was something dodgy that
Yeah,
happened.
I mean, I guess it's worse than marrying your best friend from high school at an all boys school like Macron.
No. Chris Holmes can't believe that guy from Somalia doesn't have a machete. That's not, you see, that is you watching too many of those pirate movies. I'm the captain now. But he does look like that guy. There. Look, see? Compare that picture, right, with the guy who's running for mayor of Minneapolis. Let's go there. There's number one. And put up number two. Where's the other one? Oh, there he is. See, it's the same guy.
Different diets, but ultimately quite
Yeah,
similar.
the one guy's a
looking.
bit thinner because he's still in
He's at
Somalia.
sea.
This guy was actually born, by the way, in Washington State in America.
Well,
So
testament
he-
again to the Western world. Look how much better
Sure.
you can look.
I mean, look at how he's healthy.
Yeah.
That's not healthy, right? More zombie-ish.
No, very low protein.
Yeah. He looks like the I'm the captain now guy, says Melissa. Yes, Melissa, we've just gone over that, but thank you for your contribution. Malnutrition as a youngster, says Mike. Is that what it is? Well, I always remember as a kid, if we didn't eat our food, my mother would say, there are Somalians who don't have food. You should be grateful and you should finish your supper. It was like a tacit threat. Not
Yeah.
even so tacit with my mother, usually followed by
I
a
mean, was
clap.
it Bob Dylan who told our parents that?
Bob Geldof.
Bob Geldof,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, do they know it's Christmas time at all?
Yeah, I think it was
Starving.
Bob Geldof.
They'd show the pictures of the kids with the kwashiorkor's disease and the vultures circling around them. And
Such a downer over Christmas.
it was a proper, it really, but meant to upset us and
Yeah.
and remind us how lucky we were that we weren't in Somalia. But I mean, I don't want to be piling onto Somalia this morning, but it is still a total clusterfuck of a country. Okay, Mogadishu is. There are very few buildings that have roofs in Mogadishu. If you go into, just do yourself a favor. Don't believe me. go onto Google Earth, which is a terrific resource,
It really is.
and do a little flyover, which you can do on Google Earth, of Mogadishu. What you will find is it is mostly pulverized concrete, rock, and uninhabitable wasteland. It's a total disaster. There are a few buildings in certain places, but up to like the last 5 or 6 years, and they've only rebuilt certain parts of it at great expense and usually from piracy. But it's not a great place. Okay, the Mogadishu is the capital of Somalia. Technically, Somalia is also still in anarchy. In other words, they don't really have a sitting government. There are no rules. There are no courts, as I understand it. And the place is easily one of the worst places in the world to live, which is why you will meet Somalians all over the rest of the world.
Loads.
Okay, so you'll meet lots of them in South Africa. And believe me, I'm not in any way anti-Somalians, because in South Africa, there are many Somalians who are running informal markets, shops. They're trying to make a living. They're being productive. Whether or not you believe in legal and illegal immigration, that's a whole different debate, but you cannot deny that the Somalians are productive people, and they get stuck in and they try to make a living wherever they are. What you've got to ask is why they leave Somalia, and the reason for that is because Somalia is a disaster. It is easily one of the worst places in the world to live. And it's worth reflecting on this. It's worth looking at why it's a disaster. It's why, for at least decades now, perhaps even longer, there's been no reason for anyone to want to stay there. If you can get out, you go. And that's usually not a good sign.
See, I sometimes get it confused with Ethiopia. That's not as bad.
Ethiopia's
That's actually,
Ethiopia is not a disaster at all.
yeah, they've got a good airline. They've got stuff on the go. It's fine.
And then Khomotso says Ethiopians and Somalians look alike. I don't think so. Maybe I'm just full of shit and superficial. Black Hawk Down was the peak of the Mogadishu economy, says Danny Archer. Where exactly is this mega doo-doo? No, Mogadishu. Look it up. Don't get Somalia confused with Somaliland, Gareth. They're different countries, each with their own junta. No, Slippery Pickle, I am definitely talking about old school Somalia. Somaliland is just a tiny little strip on the Horn of Africa, which is up for grabs. And actually, it's not Somalia as much as it is Ethiopia and Eritrea that are fighting over that. Homotso, says Danny. Zulus, Xhosas, Sutus, Tswanas, Vendas all look alike to me. Now we're going down a dirty path. Mike Hunt says, now put the orange jumpsuit guy up. Okay, put him up again. Mike wants it.
No.
Mike, there he is. I want you to have bad dreams, Ben. This is why I'm doing this. I want you and everybody else in the audience to have bad dreams.
You're not going to win, unfortunately.
Take it off
there's
now.
Too much
That's
good
enough.
There's too much good
We've
in me to worry
tortured them
about
enough.
We really look good on the set today, huh? Look at us.
All the brown, and there's a lot of brown.
Very warm.
We didn't coordinate this, but we like it. The brown works perfectly. There are children in Africa who are starving. They would love your Brussels sprouts. Yes, KP, that's what my mother used to say.
No, they wouldn't. They want They want your macaroni cheese and stuff. They don't want bullshit like Brussels sprouts.
Well, I don't think they had much choice in those days, Ben. Which is why guys like that guy who's running for mayor of Minneapolis, his parents fled Somalia because they couldn't find anything. There was nothing to eat. Zero. There was rock, old rock, freshly blown to shit rock, and sand. And you had your choice. What texture would you like today? You'd get to the canteen, there'd be 4 bowls with different textures of rock, and you'd have to choose. So I feel like splurging a little for the kids. I think I'm going to choose some fine sand. And then, the poorer people, they'd have to break the rock themselves. They'd have to, sometimes on their teeth, sometimes against another rock. Not very nutritious. And you and I sit here now wondering about what we're going to have for supper. Gareth seems in love with this zombie guy. He keeps wanting to show his face. Nunya, you have misread me. Some people need excuses, victimhood, and they need to compensate or do the heavy lifting for their own shortcomings as a good human being. Some just need excuses, says Tracy. Yeah. I think a lot of people are looking for excuses.
Of course.
And sometimes they also have a lot of it's almost like a schadenfreude. Like if they can find someone who's worse than them and then look like they're helping. You know, it's like the people who want to appear to be good people on social media. You find a lot of that these days, is the people who will immediately jump in on some horrible human situation, an earthquake or a hurricane or a massacre or school shooting or
Oprah's
whatever.
fire in Hawaii.
Yeah, and they will Oprah's fire in Hawaii. They'll get involved because it's easy pickings for people who are compensation farmers. I mean, not compensation, compassion farmers. If you're the kind of person who gets a thrill out of other people thinking you're nice, then whenever bad things happen, those are the people who change their profile picture or say, I'm praying for this, or, oh, I feel so bad. These poor people in that earthquake in Bangladesh, because it costs nothing and you get maximum clout from idiots. So you can pick these people out from a mile away.
Yeah, but that's like getting 1,000 altcoins of like, I don't know, cabinet coin. Doesn't.
Yeah.
It's got no value.
Yeah. Speaking of which, our president is he's busy. He's very busy with this G20. When does it actually happen?
November.
Is it only in November?
That's why I got these stupid fucking bus lanes outside of our business complex
is it?
here.
Oh, okay. I thought it was now and it would be over with soon.
No, it's
Is it
November.
only in November? Check that, James.
Oh, yeah. So
Oh
we
my
November
God.
because we need the
They're gonna
rains
ruin
to
our
clean
Christmas.
the streets. No, I mean obviously they'll be done by Christmas.
So we had to do what? Get the vagrants to clean the streets?
No, I mean November, so we get the rain to clean the streets a bit.
Oh yeah.
Can't do it in
yeah.
winter. This place looks like Somalia.
Is that now a version of like how shit it could get? Somalia.
Flying in yesterday morning, I realized for the first time I was in the Qatar Airways, and the window's got a film on it now, so you actually don't see out. It's like this dark blue, and you get different tints of it.
I don't like that.
I don't like it either because I want to see outside.
Yes.
So it's this blue tint. I was like, this is weird. It's like 7:30. The sun's up by now. No, it's a heavy blue tint. And then you get to Joburg and it's like it's brown and yellow.
Brown, yeah. It's the color of our jerseys and
But it's,
jackets.
if you're
today.
not used to it, you might look down there and go, this is
brown,
Somalia.
can be summed up as "don't be mean, shame." Gray says, "Yeah." Anybody who says shame, also again, you've got to be careful. There are toxic, compassionate people.
I don't understand. I think I've said this before. The whole South African thing around when people say shame. It's like, oh, shame. Like, what? Is there something wrong with him? No, it's just like, shame. Why? You know the reason, the meaning of the word shame.
I don't know why people do it. Tell
It's
me
like-
why you think people do it.
You hear it all the time. Like the other day, I was at the golf course, and my mate says, "Oh, shame. You know, that's my boss's son." So I said, "Well, does he have cancer?" Like, why are you saying shame? It's like, no, I mean, he's a nice guy. It's just shame. He came over and said hi. So again, is he a felon? Does he have Tourette's?
Is he shameful? Because
Like,
the
why are you
word
saying
means
shame?
the word means. I mean, if you say shame, what you mean is that person should be ashamed
Yes.
of something. So it doesn't make sense to me on that basis. What have they done that they should be so ashamed of?
It's like
Are
someone
they
does
that
something,
zombie guy is trying to kidnap a child and punches women in the face?
or like if someone does something nice, you go, "Oh, shame. You know, he's such a nice guy." Well, did he molest you before he was nice to you? Why are you saying shame? Fuck.
Okay, but people don't think when they say that.
We all are friends.
I've
Trust me,
probably
this weekend.
I've probably said, "Oh, shame, poor old whoever."
But that's because there's a something's wrong with that person.
Well,
They're
or
going
they
through
really
tough times.
cuck with like women, or they don't have any
Something hasn't gone well.
skills. Well, yeah, they're poor and they've been unfortunate in business. And I go, "Ah, shame, poor
Yeah.
old Tony." You know,
Well, that's correct. Sure.
that's when you should use it.
yes.
But the way these people that you're complaining about use it,
It's just stupid.
I think again, it's almost like a cheap way of seeming like a nice person.
That's exactly it.
And we've got to expunge this cheap way of seeming like a nice person stuff. I think it's doing us damage. It's actually hurting the fabric of society, because when you have people who are chasing clout in terms of empathy, it just leads to enormous trouble. It does not lead to a good place. It ruins children, it ruins relationships, it ruins families, it ruins the workplace. It can be very, very dangerous. And it's not just women who do this. There are also guys who climb on this bandwagon. Guys who are either sincere about it because they tend, there are some very empathetic guys who, I don't know, they become nurses or whatever. And then you get guys who are pretending because they use it to get close to women and victimize them. This happens. So we've got to stop this stuff. It's very, very bad. By the way, what does the heart button do in the comments section? I don't know. Press it. Let's see what happens. Maybe you blow up the show. If he presses the heart button. Oh, my God. That's what it brings up. Okay. Now look what you've done. I'm really bad with women. Are you going to say shame, Cully? Yeah, shame, Cully.
Yeah, shame, Cully, because things aren't going well.
Shame.
So we're giving pity. We're having pity on your plight.
Yeah. It's shameful the way some people use shame, says Parallel Parking. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Danny Archer says, ach, shame, man. And then Gray says, shame is useful. Some people really need to be ashamed. Well, we've discussed this before. We're not going there again this morning. Oh, my God, it's 8 o'clock. We have to go. Shame. What a shame. All right. Shameful. Thank you, Ben.
I'm actually here all day today. Doing a whole bunch of other shows.
Oh, okay, very good.
But good stuff coming up on the Bunch Show.
Tell us.
Some of you fuckers don't actually watch that, come to my opinion.
Yeah, all right. So actually...
So this is it. Every week we hear...
So actually Ben was only here to shit on you.
Shame on you.
Shame.
Shame on you.
Shame.
On the Bunch Show bell. Every Thursday right here, Real Network, 4 p.m.
Right.
I mean, this week, example, we've got an absolute all-time golf bro show. CZ James, OG Molefe and I.
Okay.
Then we've got Van Olafia talking Super Rugby Prime.
Right.
I'm going to be in a Bulls jersey. He won't be.
That's fantastic.
And that's just what I'm recording today.
How amazing.
Got John Smith
Very
coming in soon. Talk about World Cups.
I mean, it couldn't be a better time to do this.
It's a very exciting time.
So if you haven't already, go and like and subscribe to the channel, and also follow On the Bounce and follow the show on social media. You won't be sorry.
I learned things on that show.
There we go. And Ben thinks he knows everything. Keeps learning new things. Very exciting. All right. Cheers, everybody. Bye.